Let's welcome in Republican Pennsylvania Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. Guy, good to have you with us this evening. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Bianca. Always good to be on.
Well, first off, your reaction to Nord Stream 1, Russia's decision. Obviously, this is the leverage Putin has here.
You're exactly right. And what we've seen during this entire war is Russia using its energy reserves and its energy resources as a tool, both politically and militarily, to keep the Germans and the other European nations from engaging too heavily with Ukraine. And let's not forget, they're still profitable on their oil and gas sales to places like India and China, where they're selling oil and gas at a premium. The key lesson for us, Bianca, should be that we should never be in this position again where our allies are dependent on the Russians for energy. Under President Trump, we were an energy exporter, a net energy exporter. We could still be an exporter if we just had the pipelines, the infrastructure, if we got away with the regulation, the slow walking of permits, and actually used our energy resources to help our allies abroad and also break off the control that Russia has over Europe.
Well, obviously, and this is a massive move, and we hope there is some resolution, especially for the people in Europe who are already facing skyrocketing prices in advance of the winter. Also want to get your reaction to this new figure in the White House asking for $13.7 billion more dollars. You know, the last shipment was supposed to help focus on long-term security. Many are questioning, why is there more taxpayer dollars being sent? Is there any oversight, Guy? Are you concerned about this new figure that we've learned today?
Well, I am concerned. We should have more oversight over where this money is going, but we should also ask our allies, our so-called allies with the Germans and the French, why they're not doing more to put pressure on Russia and why they're not fulfilling all the sanctions they promised us, because that would help bring the war to an end more quickly. I've been a big proponent of the United States having a no-fly zone as well to help the Ukrainians. And Bianca, at the beginning of this war, we had three choices. Number one was to do nothing, and the war probably would have been over quickly. Number two was to have a no-fly zone, engage heavily, and repel the Russians. And those two options, you can make arguments they were both good options. The third option was the worst, which is what we chose to do, was something in between the two, where we're just giving kind of enough aid to Ukraine, but we're not engaged with any kind of no-fly zone, and the war is dragging on, and our allies are having like pseudo sanctions. That's the worst for all parties involved. And shockingly enough, and I'm saying that, of course, ironically, Biden picked the worst choice.
Yeah, he did. And I do want to pivot a little bit to Biden and his speech last night, not really focusing on all the policy issues he's made abroad and at home that have led to disastrous consequences. Not talking about that at all. We'll hear from President Trump tomorrow, also in Pennsylvania, which will be quite a contrast. But what were your thoughts on Biden's comments last night, the MAGA Republicans he targeted, which, it's this huge segment of our country here, that red lighting, it's not playing well, of course, across most of America today.
Well, no, remember, he called 75 million Americans extremists in that speech. And if we can just step back, the reason why Biden wasn't on that stage talking about the economy, talking about security, talking about wins on the international stage is because Joe Biden has zero wins. We have inflation, we have stagnation. We've been embarrassed in Afghanistan. The Chinese are more aggressive. The southern border is in chaos. So what he did is he stood on that stage yesterday and deflected. And he took a page out of the Marxist-Leninist playbook, and that is that you always blame your enemies and accuse your enemies of what you yourself are doing. So he used that to call Republicans extremists, to say that Republicans don't care about the rule of law. Meanwhile, this is the guy that has the extreme position of shutting down our energy production, packing the Supreme Court. I could go on and on.
Yeah, no comments about the border. And we started this block with that story about these missing children here and a big concern of there being possibly trafficked. So we have huge concerns here at home and abroad. Congressman Reschenthaler, Guy, as you like to be referred to, we know that.
Thank you, Bianca.
We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.